2018, Mexico was planning and building its future on well-thought and analyzed infrastructure projects. Today, those plans built and that future are in ruins. One man terminated that future based on his order as President of Mexico, prioritizing ideological preferences over technical feasibility. The cost, tens of billions of US dollars, and a monumental opportunity cost lost forever. If you've flown into Mexico City or plan to in the near future, you aren't just paying for a flight, you're paying for those ruins, for the cost of that presidential order canceling a project worth billions of US dollars. This wasn't just a local scandal. It's a masterclass in capital mismanagement and sovereign risk that every global investor needs to know about.
Hello, I'm Mike Bostock, and in these and following episodes, we're trying to untangle the financial, economic, and legal reality of Mexico during the past several years. In this episode, we are talking about the cancellation of an airport worth tens of billions of dollars. An airport that will never exist, but still, Mexican taxpayers will have to fully pay. And how a commercially unviable, poorly planned, and thought-renovated Air Force Base airport became the symbol for a new era of institutional decay and technical oversight in Mexican infrastructure projects.
To understand the sovereign risk here, we have to look at how the decision was made to cancel the new modern Mexico City Airport. It wasn't through a federal audit or a technical review conducted by experts. It was done through a non-binding referendum. There were two narratives used to justify the cancellation. One was that Texcoco was sinking, that building on an ancient lake bed was a fool's errand, but the project utilized a compensated foundation system, essentially a massive concrete ship that floats in the soft soil. Think of it like a giant Lego baseplate sitting on a sponge. It doesn't matter if the sponge moves, the baseplate remains level. This wasn't a mistake. It was a marvel of 21st century engineering that was discarded for a ground-level Air Force base that lacks the same structural longevity. And two, that the airport project was a nest of corruption and malfeasance. This was the most favored narrative by López Obrador. But in all of López Obrador and Sheinbaum's administrations, there has been no legal investigation or proceedings initiated for corruption or malfeasance in connection with the Texcoco Airport project. From an institutional integrity standpoint, this was the first red flag for global markets and investors. The reaction to the cancellation was immediate. This wasn't just about an airport. It was about legal certainty and the rule of law. Investors could see that contractual obligations could be dissolved overnight based on an arbitrary executive order. This triggered market volatility, and the Mexican currency took a hit as the risk premium for the entire country began to rise. Then came the MexCat bonds. The government had issued $6 billion in debt to fund the Texcoco Airport project. To avoid a sovereign debt crisis or a technical default, they had to divert the airport use fee generated by the old airport in Mexico City to pay back investors, the bondholders, for an airport that will never exist. You might think this tens of billions dollar loss is just a number on a government ledger. But look at your next flight receipt. In Mexico, the airport use fee, or TUA, is among the highest in the world. Why? Because you're not just paying for the terminal you're standing in, you're paying off the interest on the MexCat bonds for the Texcoco Airport that was canceled. Every time you buy a ticket to Mexico City, a significant portion of that money goes directly into a debt sinkhole. The Mexican government is effectively taxing the future of Mexican tourism to pay for a hole in the ground where the Texcoco Airport was to be. It's a permanent tax on institutional incompetence. This is a case study in fiscal mismanagement. Major rating agencies like Moody's and Fitch began to reassess Mexico's credit rating. When a government prioritizes populist branding over macroeconomic stability, the foreign direct investment landscape changes. By 2026, the ruins of the Texcoco Airport represent a massive economic development bottleneck. Mexico's ambition to become the world's nearshoring capital has collided with a physical reality. You cannot run a global hub through a fragmented airport and transportation system. The friction generated by technical neglect and infrastructure obsolescence has become a hidden tax on every import and export. Under the United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement, foreign direct investment requires legal certainty. The Texcoco Airport cancellation sent a chilling signal to Mexico's trading partners. When a multi-billion-dollar project is cancelled via an informal poll, it creates a sovereign risk profile that forces investors to demand higher returns to compensate for legal uncertainty. It's not just foreign capital. Domestic investment from Mexico's private sector has remained stagnant. When the nation's largest infrastructure projects can be cancelled on a whim, investment moves to safer jurisdictions.
Currently in Mexico, we are seeing an historical misallocation of wealth, where Mexican investment capital is building infrastructure hubs outside the country instead of within it. As Mexico prepares for the 2026 World Cup, visitors will experience the existence of suboptimal public investment and infrastructure projects made with little or no prior studies or analysis, and decided and approved by just one person.
When the Texcoco Airport project was scrapped, the replacement wasn't a commercial hub. It was a military airport conversion now known as AIFA. AIFA represents a fundamental shift in Mexico's infrastructure lifecycle. It changed from a project designed by Pritzker-winning architects to one built under military supervision and the doctrine of national security. This isn't just about aesthetics, it's about asset utility, transparency, and accountability. By placing the military in charge, the government bypassed traditional public tendering processes, creating a black box for fiscal oversight. When the military handles civilian infrastructure, standard reporting rules are often replaced by national security classifications. This lack of data is a major deterrent for global investors. The dual airport system created by the new AIFA and the old Mexico City Airport, both in operation, has been a nightmare for airspace management. International bodies raised concerns about operational efficiency, leading to the downgrade of Mexico's air transport system. This self-inflicted economic wound effectively froze the growth of Mexican airlines in the US market for years.
Mexicans are now paying for two airports: the cancelled Texcoco Mexico City Airport and its replacement, the AIFA, and not benefiting from either. AIFA remains a white elephant, requiring constant taxpayer life support. AIFA has very inefficient and poor public transport connections to the metropolitan area of Mexico City, and consequently has a small number of daily users and flights. Meanwhile, the old Mexico City Airport, which works in tandem with the AIFA, crumbles under a lack of maintenance and capital expenditure due to lack of funds and revenue that instead goes to pay for the cancelled Texcoco Mexico City Airport and the AIFA.
To the global observer and investor, the Texcoco cancellation was just the first domino. Over the last 7 years, we've seen a consistent, almost deliberate, rejection of technical reality in favor of ideological preferences in all infrastructure projects in Mexico. When there is a systematic replacement of engineers and experts with political loyalists, the result is not productive infrastructure, it is the dissipation of public capital and trust. One of the most alarming markers of the past years is the militarization of procurement. By shielding IFA under national security status, the administration has effectively systematized opaque procurement. For a global investor, this is the ultimate red flag. If you cannot audit the spending, you cannot calculate the risk. It's an environment where procedural irregularities are built into the system by design. Think about the opportunity cost. While peer nations like Vietnam and India are aggressively courting global supply chains, Mexico has spent the last several years doubling down on centralized, dysfunctional, unproductive projects. Mexicans didn't just lose an airport, they lost the nearshoring momentum. The institutional failures of the past years have traded 21st century growth for unproductive projects that require permanent subsidies. This is a prime example of sovereign risk, a state where the rule of law is secondary to executive discretion. It tells the world that Mexico is a place where contracts are only valid until the next morning's presidential press conference. While Mexico was busy converting a 1950s Air Force base into the replacement for the cancelled Texcoco Airport, its primary competitors in the nearshoring market were building for 2050. Look at Vietnam's Long Tan International Airport. It is a $16 billion project around the same price as Mexico's cancellation, designed to handle 100 million passengers. Vietnam is building a global hub gateway. Mexico is renovating old Air Force bases. In the global competition for capital, logistics is destiny. When a CEO in Seoul or Berlin looks at the logistics map, they see Vietnam's streamlined hubs versus Mexico's fragmented, military-run dual airport nightmare. The following slides present the sovereign risk analysis of the cancellation of the Texcoco Mexico City Airport and the construction of what was intended as its replacement, the AFA Airport. We will present what are the costs of said cancellation, the sovereign risk having to do with capital misallocation and mismanagement in the past several years in modern Mexico. The slide case study 1. The ruins of Texcoco is about asset value destruction or neutralization or squandering of public tax money. The promised cost of the entire Texcoco Mexico City Airport was supposed to be around $13.3 billion, but the actual cost reached more than $21 billion due to liquidation and penalties due to the cancellation. This resulted in 0% asset value and utility. And not only that, the Mexican government that decided said cancellation paid more than 150% of the construction cost just to prevent the Texcoco Mexico City Airport from ever existing. 1.5 full Texcoco Mexico City airports could have been constructed for the price paid for the cancellation. The slide case study 2 shows that the AIFA airport is considered a perpetual liability. To this date, the AIFA airport is incapable of generating enough revenue for its independent operation and maintenance. The projected annual taxpayer subsidy for 2026 is $37.2 million. This is an important point because, unlike traditional infrastructure, the AIFA airport is a permanent net negative or loss on the national balance sheet. In a final aggregate analysis, the total wasted potential is over $21 billion, and the opportunity cost, the time that will never be recuperated. This is a result of total capital squander and destruction. This final figure represents the price of institutional inefficiency and lack of expertise and knowledge regarding these types of infrastructure projects by the then Mexican government in charge of such decision and responsible for it.
As we look toward the 2026 World Cup, the ruins of the Texcoco Airport remain one of several monuments and evidence of poorly thought of infrastructure projects and investments. They stand as a warning of what happens when a nation's development is willingly subordinated to populist pantomime and to systemic institutional and governmental mismanagement. One of the purposes of this video and others is to document these cases, to ensure that as the several items of the bill come due, the world knows exactly how they were created and the individuals responsible.
The cancellation of the Texcoco Mexico City Airport and the construction of its failed replacement, the Felipe Angeles or AIFA Airport, have turned into historical lessons of poorly thought decision-making, governmental mismanagement, squandered public taxes, and lost economic and commercial opportunities. Deeply ingrained political and governmental corruption and impunity, lack of accountability are a constant in the history of Mexico. If over that one adds a deep lack of knowledge and professional competence in connection to complex infrastructure projects, it will help to better understand why during the past several years the Mexican government has taken decisions as the one exemplified by the cancellation of the Texcoco Mexico City Airport, which is just one among several other examples of poorly thought decision-making, governmental mismanagement, squandered public taxes, and lost economic and commercial opportunities that will be analyzed in future episodes. For all those travelers coming to Mexico City by plane because of the 2026 World Cup or any other reason, the old Mexico City Airport, the Benito Juarez Mexico City Airport, is under renovations and construction. This because of the lack of maintenance and capital expenditure previously mentioned. As is the custom in Mexico, the renovations and maintenance are being done in a rush, without the reasonable planning and anticipation necessary in order to avoid inconvenience to travelers visiting the Mexico City Airport in the previous months to the 2026 World Cup. Additionally, the TUA or fee for the use of the airport was increased recently, so your airplane ticket is more expensive because of it. If you liked this video, found it amusing, or in any other way, let others know by giving a like, subscribing, and/or leaving your comment. Thank you.